In sales, it's very common for people to make the same mistake over and over, and this is especially true if they don't have a sales coach, sales mentor, or anybody who gives them any type of feedback. And chances are, if you are just starting out in sales, you might actually be making these common mistakes as well, and it could be costing you deals. So what I wanna do in this video is I wanna share with you the 7 most common mistakes sales people make, and also share with you exactly how you can fix it. And you wanna make sure you watch this video until the end, because if you consistently keep making these common mistakes over and over, you might waste months or even years of your life chasing after deals and not getting any results. So instead of wasting years of your life, you can watch this quick video and just shortcut it and start getting sales success. My name is Patrick Dang, and welcome to my channel where we're gonna talk about all things sales. If you are ready for this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's go ahead and dive in. Now, sales mistake number 1, and that is talking too much. Now, most salespeople believe that if you wanna be good at sales, you gotta be a smooth, good talker. But in reality, the best salespeople are not the best talkers. The best salespeople are actually the best listeners. And that's why you wanna use this 80-20 rule of thumb. So when you are talking to a customer or a prospect, you wanna make sure that you are only talking about 20% of the time, and you are letting the prospect talk 80% of the time. And you might find this really backwards, right? Because I thought that if you're a salesperson, you should always be talking and pitching, but actually the opposite is true. The best salespeople are the ones that can actually listen to the customer, feel empathy for what they're going through, and understand their challenges. And only then, when you understand what challenges someone has and how you can overcome them with buying your products and services, then you start pitching your products and services. But the only way to even get to that point is ask questions and let your prospect talk. Now, common mistake number 2 that salespeople make is not actively listening. Now, to define exactly what active listening is, it's essentially when you are listening to someone, whatever they're saying, and instead of just, waiting for them to finish so you can just say something and start pitching your product and service, you really deeply listen to what they're saying, and you're giving verbal cues or physical cues to show them that you care. For example, if somebody was, sharing their problems of, how their software that they're using is totally bad, you can do gestures like, I hear you. Oh, tell me more. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm verbally letting the person know that I'm listening, and I'm also using my physical body and nodding to show that I actually care. And you might think this is a very subtle thing, but when you're really talking to somebody, whether it's over the phone or in person, they can really tell the difference, and they can feel the difference when someone is actually listening to them versus just trying to sell. So instead of just trying to sell, take a step back and learn to listen and, actively listen. And because it's not enough just to listen to somebody, you actually have to show them you're listening, otherwise they don't know. Now, common sales mistake number 3, and that is actually pitching too early. Now, I know as salespeople, we wanna think that it's a numbers game, and when we meet somebody, we just wanna pitch our product or service and see if they wanna buy. If they don't wanna buy, then you move on to the next one, right? That's common misconception thinking. Instead of always pitching your products or service right off the bat, instead, like I said before, you want to be listening, asking questions, and then only pitching at the end when you determine that the customer or prospect is actually a good fit to buy your product or service. So that means just holding off on your pitch, waiting until the end of the call or the end of the meeting to actually tell someone what you actually do and how you can help. Because if you tell it too early, the prospect might think that you're pushing too hard, and they may not see the value of what you are offering. However, if you are asking questions, you understand the prospect's pain, and then when you do your pitch, you align your product or service to solve those pains that you uncovered during that discovery phase in the beginning of the conversation, then the prospect is going to get that aha moment and see the value of what you are offering, and it's gonna be so much easier to get the person to buy because you're not pushing someone into buying your product or service, you're listening, and then you're just helping them make a buying decision. And it just so happens that when you listen and you position your product or service in that way, people are much more likely to buy whatever it is that you're selling. Common mistake number 4 that people make is that they force the prospect to buy. Now, in my lifetime, I dealt with a lot of pushy salespeople that are very sleazy and slimy, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably experienced something similar sometime in your life, right? I'm talking about the people who, They don't listen to whatever you're saying. It doesn't even matter if you should or shouldn't buy the product. They just keep pushing, and they don't care about you. They don't care about your needs. They don't care about if you're wasting money. All they want is a commission. And to be honest, I really don't like that type of sales style, and nobody really likes that actually. But the sad reality is that in some scenarios it actually does work, and sometimes people actually feel pressured to buy something just because the salesperson just pushes them in that direction, and it doesn't really lead to a good customer experience. So my recommendation for you, if you're starting in sales, it's okay to go for the close. It's okay to try to sell something to someone who you believe will actually benefit from buying your products and services. However, it's not okay, in my opinion, to just push someone in a direction that they shouldn't even be going. So that's why, the sales style that I like to teach is more about understanding somebody and feeling empathy. And if you qualify them to see whether or not they should buy your product or service, then you do your pitch. Now, that's my style of selling. However, other people, they're just about sell, push until somebody, cracks and actually buys. So I would actually not recommend that, because it doesn't feel good to actually sell something to someone who doesn't need it, right? That just feels wrong in a sense. And at the same time, your chances of actually closing a deal is, skyrockets actually if you understand the customer more and you align your pitch to their pains. But if you're always pushing and forcing and making threats to a person and trying to make them feel bad for not buying, people don't like that experience. They're not gonna refer you to their friends, and they're just gonna talk bad about you to other people behind your back. So that's exactly what you don't wanna do. Don't push people into buying things that they don't need. And mistake number 5 is actually blaming the prospect. I know as salespeople, sometimes we might feel that our product or service is so great and that everybody should buy it. However, when people don't buy it or they make the decision not to move forward, it's very easy for a salesperson to blame the prospect, right? So I've seen scenarios where, a salesperson might say, oh, the prospect is not intelligent. They don't understand my product. They don't understand the value, right? They don't get it. They don't get technology. But in reality, it's not the prospect's problem. It's not their fault that they don't understand what you do or what value you bring, even if you bring a lot of value. It's the salesperson's job or business development person's job to communicate that value, make it as simple as possible for the other person to understand, right? So even if you're selling something incredibly complex like an API, technology product, a SaaS product where, maybe like an older generation may not totally understand what you do, but they are maybe the decision maker, right? Even if that's the case and the person doesn't really understand what you do, you have to simplify your pitch, your messaging in a way that normal everyday people can understand. The way I like to think of it is, when you're doing your pitch, you wanna make sure that when you are crafting your pitch or your messaging, that if you explained it to a 5th grader, they would understand, right? So if you can't explain it to a 5th grader and use simple words for, someone who has no idea about the industry you're in, if they can understand that, then everybody else can understand it as well. Don't make things complicated, simplify it for people. Don't blame the prospect because they don't understand. Look at yourself and take responsibility and change the way you pitch your product or service or the way you communicate so that they do understand and they can actually buy your products and services. Because if you start blaming other people, well, you're not gonna get the results you're looking for because you're always looking externally. It's this person's fault, it's that person's fault, and how will you ever get better if you don't take responsibility? So the better way to look at it is, instead of blaming other people and blaming the prospects and saying that they're not smart enough to make a decision and buy your products and services, look at yourself. Are you actually being the most effective communicator as you can? And it's a lot of work to do that. It's a lot of work to be conscious of your way of pitching and self-reflect and, recognize that you can actually improve. But I promise you, if you actually do that, you're gonna get better results because you can actually self-correct, give yourself feedback, and start trying new things, different ways of pitching, and make it easy for the customer to buy your product or service. And so with that said, those are gonna be the 5 most common mistakes that I see salespeople make all the time. We talked about what these mistakes are, help you become more aware of it, and we also showed you exactly how you can fix these mistakes. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And let me know in the comments which common mistakes that you find yourself constantly making, and share with the rest of the community how exactly you want to fix it. And if you want to learn more about sales and closing deals, make sure you check out my other videos on this screen. So with that said, my name is Patrick Dang. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.